Morning, welcome back. Well, it's early March and I'm over on the plot today. What a beautiful day, absolutely gorgeous over here. It's chilly, it's cold, and there was a frost. But the reason I'm over here today is I want to do like a demonstration on how we're going to sow up our seed potatoes for the 2016 season. Now, it is very early to be doing this, okay? I'm quite lucky, I've got the big polytunnel, I've got another one over there, which is, then both of them are heated, so I can get away with it. The one thing that potatoes will not tolerate is frost. So if you haven't got somewhere to protect the crops, especially if you're going to be planting them outside, wait, okay? Traditionally in this country, in the UK, Easter is the time of year when we sow up our seed potatoes. However, word of warning, this year, Easter is early. Very early. So my advice to you guys is to wait until at least a week or two after Easter has passed, and then you're probably pretty safe then to be sowing up your potatoes, no matter what method you use. And there are various different methods. Now, I don't know if you guys recall, but in a few episodes back when I harvested a load of seaweed off down the beach, well, it's all been sitting in this compost bin. I filled it absolutely to the brim and I layered it all up. There's a previous episode, Tony might put it in a link at the end for you. That has reduced by about half, it's down to here. On top of that, I backfilled it because I didn't want any sort of like vacuum volume space in the top. I put a load of horse manure on the top. And I dug that out yesterday and that's now over on a bed. So what I'm left with is that seaweed, manure and soil mix in the bottom. It's pretty much gone to soil now. This is purely for the international kidney potatoes that I got from JBA seed potatoes. In fact, we've got all of our potatoes from them this year because they are literally the first class seed potatoes. All their stock is absolutely top quality. If you're thinking about buying your potatoes, get over to JBA's and have a look at their stock list, which is very impressive. So I've reserved this purely for my international kidney potatoes, otherwise known as Jersey Royals. Now out in Jersey, I've been told this is how they grow them, in seaweed, sand and horse manure, and that's what I've got in here. So what I need to do now is go and get a cup of tea first, because I'm gasping, and then I'm going to come back, get this bin emptied out, and then I'll show you what we do with it then. Okay, so got all that out of the compost bin, which is great now because I've got an empty compost bin, and I should be siting that somewhere where it's going to get full sun. And when we get a new delivery of horse manure, I shall fill it up, and then that'll do me proud for autumn this year. So anyway, got all of the compost out. There is a few bits of stone and shell and things like that in it, which is what I was expecting, because obviously when you harvest the seaweed it does pull a lot of that stone and sand up. I'm not worried about it at all. It'll only add to good drainage in the pots. So this year, as I said earlier, we're going to be growing everything in buckets. I've done 2 or 3 seasons of growing in the ground, and in my opinion, and it is only my humble opinion, it's hard work. You know, there's all the preparation, you've got to dig the trenches, banking it all up continuously to prevent the frost getting to it, and then you've got to dig it all again to get them out of the ground. We're going to be using these, which you've seen in a previous episode. These are the 30 litre buckets, and we've got these from Oakland Gardens. Still doing a deal on these. You can go to their website and use our discount code, which you can find in the bargain group on Facebook, or it's UKHWG7, and you'll get 7% off of them at the moment. So also you'll notice I've numbered them. Now the reason I've done that is I've got 60 of these, and I've got quite a few varieties of the JBA seed potatoes to be planting this year, and I want to be able to track them over the season. because otherwise you just get confused. You go, oh, crikey, what's in there? First earlies, second earlies, main crop. You know, very easy to lose track of what you're growing. I've got a little spreadsheet. I've posted that in the Facebook group. If anyone wants to use it, feel free. And I can just record what I'm doing. All my first earlies are already sown up and done, and I've been doing them successionally. So planting one variety 1 week, leaving it a week, 10 days, planting another variety, and so on. And obviously when they come to harvest time, I should be able to go back to the spreadsheet and go, oh, right, okay, so they're ready to harvest. Come over, grab that bucket, tip it out, and hey presto, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll have my spuds. So what I'm going to do is, this is still quite wet. It's also very sticky because it's had quite a lot of horse manure in it. So just to make things a little bit easier and to lighten it up a little bit, I ordered up a load of compost, which is in here, and this stuff is basically from your, the green waste sites. So there's a lot of twigs and green matter and stuff like that in it. It's still pretty wet because it's in the big bags over there, but it's nice and light, and that's what I'm after. I want to be able to let the potatoes grow freely through the buckets and hopefully get quite a lot of tubers out of it. So I've got half a wheelbarrow full of this stuff. Into that I'm going to add just a bit of this, and that's potato fertiliser, especially for potatoes, I'm using about a 15-inch diameter pot, so they recommend about 15 grams of that. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of this over. Plenty. Incidentally, you can get that from the JBA website as well. If you don't want to grow in buckets, you can use bags, or you can use the other method, which is planting in the ground, and I'll show you that in a bit. Right, so next thing then, I want to add some of my magic mix to this. And there is absolutely loads of nutrients in it, and all sorts of other stuff as well. God knows what that is. You can still see some of the seaweed in there. Okay. That'll be plenty, I think, for what I need to do. I don't want to overload your wheelbarrow because it makes it hard to mix it. Right. Out of the way. We're going to give this a little mix up. Make sure you get all the way to the bottom. I'll just lift it over, turn it, and I did these last year, these Jersey Royals, and they were, I think, my favourite. The taste was incredible. I didn't realise actually potatoes could taste so good. And again, I started them off all in the big polytunnel, give them a real good head start. And I think my plants were sort of like this high when everyone else's was just popping through the ground. So yeah, it did raise a few eyebrows. That's nicely mixed. Okay, excuse me while I take my back to you for a minute. Okay, happy with that. Right, I'm going to head over to the little polytunnel, go and grab some seed potatoes, and we'll show you the next bit. So we've got our bucket. What I'm going to do with this first and foremost is I'm going to put about 4 inches of the compost in the bottom. This is the magic mix. Like so. Get that out nice and level. So don't worry about the shells and things like that in there, it really doesn't matter. And then I'm going to select 2 of the seed potatoes. I'm going to check there's no chits on the sides or around the bottoms. If there are, like that, you just rub them out with your fingernail. You just want the chits at the top on the rows of the potato. So first one goes in there, second one goes alongside it. Okay, so that's the first 2. Now it doesn't matter whether you put in main crop, second early, first early, it'll be 4 in the bucket. Some people put less, but like I said, we've already tried and tested this and we know it works. So, right, there's another 3 or 4 inches on top. Next 2 potatoes. Again, just give them a good check over. Rub away the ones around the side, we don't want them. Now, these 2, so we've got 2 in there like that at the moment. The next 2 are going that way. And they go that way like that, and that way like that. And this way, when you fill up the bucket, the whole of the bucket, the compost in there is getting utilised by the plants. Because like I say, if you just put 2 right in the bottom and fill it up, the top third of this bucket will be just wasted. They don't use it at all. Last job then, just a backfill right to the top. Okay, just spread that around. In fact, I'll get a little bit more in there. Lovely, and that's it. They're in there, nice and happy. These are going to go straight into the big polytunnel, and they can sit there for the next few weeks until all the risk of frost is finished, and then I shall put them out into their final position, and that'll be these done. The good thing about this as well as growing in buckets is come harvest time, and I will talk about that in a different video, is you can just cut away all the foliage and basically store your potatoes in these buckets. Just don't tip them out, leave them as is. No need to water them anymore after you've cut away the foliage, and they'll keep like that for right over winter. So it's a really good method. Now, what do you do with the bucket now? Well, obviously mine are going into the polytunnel, and then what you would normally do is, if you notice on these buckets, they've got these holes here for drainage, etc. If you bury the bucket in the ground about 2 inches so that these are under the soil, as the roots grow, they'll come out of these holes, and there's holes in the bottom as well, and they'll feed into the actual ground that the buckets are sitting on. It does help with watering as well. They tend not to dry out so quick if you can do that. I'm not doing that this year because mine are going, where I'm putting all my potatoes, they're going straight onto plastic, which is where in a previous video I showed you that I've mulched it all and I want to feed that ground. So that's how I'm going to do it. But like I say, ideally, if you can get that bottom couple of inches of the bucket in the ground, brilliant. Right, next thing then I'm going to show you is how you plant directly in the ground. And this is only a demonstration. I'm not going to be doing any of my potatoes this way this year. There's just too many problems with it in the ground. Like I say, labour intensive, slugs, wireworm, all sorts of things can get at them. And unfortunately, I am now a bucket convert 100%. Let's go and have a look at that method anyway, for those of you that are not going to be doing buckets, and then you can see what we do. This is the in the ground method. Now, what I've done is I've just done a little test trench like that, and I've dug it out, flattened off the bottom, and it's about 4 or 5 inches deep. Okay. What you really need to do, once you've dug your trench, is put a thin layer of manure, well rotted manure, in the bottom of that trench. Okay, and then obviously depending on what variety you're growing, so in this example this is going to be second earlies, you just basically get your potatoes, again check there's no chits around the bottoms, and you can just basically put them in position like that at the back of the trench. Now for second earlies you can get away with about 9 inches apart, so like so, get 3 in there comfortable. If they're main crop, you really want to be looking at about 14 inches apart, something like that. Okay. Next job then is, once they're in position, grab your spade, just bring the soil over. Oh, that one's just gone for a burton. In fact, actually, there's a method that you can use to stop that. You just basically put the potato there and then wedge some soil up against it. So hold the potato in, down like that, and it'll hold it in position. There you go. So I'm just going to basically now backfill. And the ground really does need to be very fertile, so ideally this is the ground or the area where you composted in the winter. Okay, so that will be them planted up. Now, notice I've flattened that off like that, and that there is where the potatoes are, so they're in that row like that. Okay, through there. Now, it's fine to leave that as it is. Obviously you'll be doing this towards the end of March. As soon as you see a shoot come up through that ground, okay, you need to then bank it up. And what I use for that is this tool. It's just like a little 90-degree hoe. Great bit of kit. Absolutely love these. And what you do, just give you a little demonstration, is basically just pull it up. Like so. And you do the same the other side as well. Quite hard that side because I haven't really prepared it. This was only like a demonstration trench. Okay, now obviously when it rains this will start flattening down, so every now and again come back over once it's flattened down and just trim, redress your ridges. Like so. And that's it, they're in and planted. Now, between rows, you want about 18 inches. So the next ridge will be about here. Okay, so 18 inches between rows, about 9 inches between second earlies, 14 to 15 inches between main crop potatoes. And that's the method of basically planting in the ground. Right, I am desperate for another cup of tea, so I'll be back in a bit. Okay, well that's it from me today. Hope you enjoyed that. There'll be some follow-ups on the potatoes later on in the year, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of a clue on how we plant them up anyway. Running a really good competition this month. You might have missed a video. If you haven't, great. Do enter it, it's free, it's just a bit of fun, and it's fantastic prizes from sponsored by Oakland's Gardens, who are really working hard for our community at the moment. They're putting out some absolutely great deals for us. This month, if you look at the go to the website and look at hot product, you'll see that this month's hot product is all the seed trays, which is absolutely perfect for this time of year. You can get a cracking deal on those, so that's on the website. Stay tuned with the newsletter. If you haven't signed up to that, please do so. Again, it's all free and no obligation. You can unsubscribe from that anytime you like. But that's the quickest way to find out what me, Tony and the rest of the team are all getting up to through the season as it goes. So last thing for me to say to you guys is thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, and introducing us to your friends. Loads of new people coming over and saying hi, and it's really good to have you guys over. Been some fantastic topics discussed at the moment as well, especially in the Facebook group. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy this weather and I'm going to go and crack on and do a bit more. See you soon.